guess it was in September of 1970. I was with my team, and we got a call from the district headquarters, and they said we have spotted a large number of NBA crossing through Hainia province, and in the daylight. I mean, you never saw that. It was in the afternoon, and so we're going to scramble some of the helos, and we're going to have a helicopter insertion. So get an RF company ready and be out at the pickup zone in 5 minutes. And so we were out there, and I was in the lead helicopter, and we got about, we saw them, NBA. I mean, I was incredulous. I was also excited. I mean, I'm like, finally, we can close with the enemy. So I asked the pilot to put us down. There was a wood line that offered some protection to put us about 50 meters away. And so he did. And we were taking heavy fire, but it wasn't particularly accurate. So we were safe. And I was on my radio, and I called in artillery. And I had a new sergeant with me. He'd only been with me for 1 week on our team. It was his second tour. His first tour, he was with an American unit. But at this tour, he had only been with us a week. And while I'm calling in the artillery, he decides to charge towards the MVA. I mean, it was an open area. We were in
by himself, or did he bring
It's by
someone with
himself.
him?
I've never, anyway, he got about 5 yards, and he was shot through the thigh. It went in his thigh and exited. He crawled back, and he was lucky he only got shot through the thigh. So I switched the channel to dust off, and I called in a medevac for a wounded American advisor. And they got him, and I guess they took him to Kuchia, I guess, and I think he eventually went back to the United. I never saw him again, and I don't know. Anyway. I never saw him. So then I called in gunships, and after about 4 or 5 passes, the firing on the enemy firing stopped, and we moved forward, and there were, 13 MVA killed, two VC. We had 3 VC that we captured, and we sent them to Kuchi. It took us about 2 days to secure the area. And as I was looking in one of the areas where there were a lot of dead soldiers, I saw one of the NVA, and he in his pocket, his top pocket of his uniform, I took out a book, and it was like a 3x5 book. It was encased in plastic, and he had colored pencils in there. And I opened it, and it was just drawings that he had done. And I wasn't looking at it for its artistic merit. I was looking at it for intelligence. So I sent it to S2, military intelligence, and I made a request, when you're done with it, could you send it back? And it was a miracle. They did send it back. And so I sent it home.
I wonder if you could talk about the art book that you found on the NBA. So the NBA was killed. You find that he's got this book with drawings in it. You take it, send it to intelligence, but then ask for them to send it back to you. They do send it back to you. You send it home, and then my understanding is you don't really do much with it for over 20 years. But then after that time, you pull it out and look at it, and then it becomes a sort of a focus of your attention for a while. So what is that? What is the story of that art book?
You're right. I don't know, I put it aside, and then one day I was just going through, I guess, reminiscing, and I took the book out, and I started going through the pages, and what amazed me was that this NVA soldier actually was a person. I mean, he had feelings, sensitivities, and part of their training is you look at the enemy almost as the devil incarnate. I mean, if this was somebody that, if we hadn't been fighting each other, we probably could have been friends. But I was amazed at the fact that someone going through the hardships that he must have gone through, because he was an NVA soldier. He came down the Ho Chi Minh Trail. That in and of itself was a major accomplishment. And then he had the monsoons and the temperature and whatever, and constant duress and whatever, to draw these pictures of these mountains, this purplish hue, and the backdrop of the sun coming in, beautiful pictures of his family and women and palm trees and whatever. It was like, that's not what I would anticipate of a combat soldier, the sensitivity. And the way he preserved it, it obviously had special meaning to him. So I was like, I shouldn't have this book, but I was at a symposium on the Vietnam War at Yale University. And some of the professors there really did a good job. And one of them was talking about the afterlife for Vietnamese. And he said if someone dies and their body's not recovered, that the soul wanders in eternity for like purgatory. And unless something is returned that was a personal belonging or what have you. I don't know. I don't know if it's true or not, but if that's what they believe. So I said, this book doesn't belong with me. So the right thing to do is to get it back to the family, if it can give them some peace. So I contacted the Secretary of State's office, Defense Department, attachés, the Vietnamese professors. I gave digital copies of the book to them, hoping that there was something in there that would help them identify the soldier. Nothing's happened, and I wasn't as zealous as I should have been. And then I don't know, 2 years ago, I decided I'm going to write the ambassador at the embassy, the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. And I'm going to enclose copies of the book, and I'm going to see if he can help. And I was absolutely shocked and pleasantly surprised that he responded and said they would do everything they could in their power to find the soldier's family. And it was November 10th of 2022. I had the opportunity to be in Washington, D.C. It was my wife's 70th birthday, so we were celebrating that. Our whole family flew in. And also, I had an opportunity for a reading of the names. They do it, I think, every 7 years, 5 years or whatever. Every soldier, every person's name on the wall is read. And so you could pick a name in particular of someone. So I picked Neil Burgess Hayes, Jr., and they said, well, can you read 30 names? I said, of course. And so I was going to be there anyway. So I told the first deputy at the embassy, I said, I'm going to be here for 3 days, and I would like to return that book to you. William Duffner, John Donahue, Pedro Herring, Neil Burgess Hayes, Jr., Maximiliano de Villa Torres, Then I heard back that the ambassador wanted to meet with me. So they sent a car, so the morning, they sent a car, picked me up, we went to the embassy, and there were 3 or 4 people there with him, and he looked through the book, and very gracious, very kind. And he said, we will find the family. And also, there were those 12 soldiers, 13 soldiers that had been killed, and I think they were in a mass grave. So, we're trying to find our MIAs, and they're trying to find theirs. So there's some reciprocity, hopefully, if we cooperate with each other. So I gave them some details about that. And at the end of the meeting, when I stood up, he asked if he could hug me. And Vietnamese with strangers, they don't show public display of affection. That's not something they normally do. So that was really very much appreciated. I don't know if he was thinking about it later, and I'm like, was he like trying to forgive me for, was he just showing his appreciation? I'm like, don't overthink it.